Today on The Grid, which is episode like 500 and something, we are talking about one of my secret weapons. It's a plugin I use as my secret weapon. We have a special guest with us. Dan's here with us today. There's lots of news. Where is Eric Kuna? He's not here. He's gallivanting because that's what he does. So I'm doing a solo gig today, but we're still giving away some cool stuff, including some stuff we've never given away before. And it all starts in just 24.2 seconds. Let's go.
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Grid. We are live. It's just me today. Where's Kuna? Kuna, where is he? Wyoming? Montana? He's someplace. You know, is it just me, or does Eric Kuna get like 28 weeks vacation a year? He's always gallivanting. He's off gallivanting again. He literally is. He took his camper, his luxury camper, and he's up there, and I know he's going to Yellowstone. I know he's going to the famous barn outside of Jackson Hole, and you know he's going to get some killer shots. He's going to come back with Milky Way shots and sky shots, and he's going to come back with killer stuff. So I'm teasing because very jealous that he's up there. I've never been up there. I've always wanted to go, so I'm kind of jealous. Just so you know, telling you up front. Lots of stuff. Oh my gosh, so much going on. Okay. First up is they just announced today, and it's kind of cool news. I am speaking at the Optic 2022 conference. So B&H Photo has been doing this conference for 8 years. It's an outdoor photography, travel photography, imaging conference. Now they've been doing it live for years in New York, and then of course COVID hit, and it's been virtual. This year, you can do either one. You can go in person or you can go virtually. And all you have to do is RSVP and say you're coming. That's it. And you're in, right? So you can go to New York. It's at the New Yorker Hotel. I'm going to be doing sessions on travel. I'm going to be doing sessions on travel photography. And I'm going to be doing post-processing as well. So travel photography and post-processing for travel photography. They've got an all-star lineup, including Joe McNally is going to be there. So that's big. And you just choose which one you want to go to. You can just go to either one. Just sign up. Just RSVP. All you have to do is RSVP. So here's where you want to go. The website is bhoptic.com. bhoptic, OPTIC.com. And I'm reading this, so this little next part, because I want to see what they've got. So they have top speakers, industry trade show panels. They've got portfolio reviews. They got webinars. They got a sunset cruise. On the sunset cruise, by the way, I'm one of the MCs. So they have microphones that go all over. So David Brommer and I are going to MC the sunset cruise. You know that's going to be horrible, right? It's just going to be a fiasco. No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great fun. We're the cruise directors, me and David. So there's a print competition. There are Optic signature photo walks, and it's all live or virtual in New York City. So why wouldn't you go? That's it right there, the Optic experience. All you got to do is register. That's it. Just go. Go right now. By the way, you're going to want to watch it virtually or either way. You can go in person. It's up to you. It's in 17 days from now. And they archive it all. It's great. Just go and sign up. Lots of great speakers. And it's going to be wild. So anyway, and keep going. Look, Deb Sandich is there. Matt Klaskowski's there. There's David Brommer, Colby Brown. Lots of great instructors. So make sure you go and check it out. I'm very excited about it. It's my second or third time speaking at Optic. So it's always an honor to be at such a great conference. And so that's coming up. All right, that's number one. Anything else I need to tell you about that? That's it. Just go sign up right now. It's just all you have to do is RSVP and say, I want to come, and you're in. Come on. All right. So next, it's a story. It's a story about a man named Brady who was busy with 3 kids of his own. No. this last weekend, I played a gig. Now, I have to just tell you real briefly about it. Some of you have read this on my social media already. But I played a gig with the same band I played with when I was 16 years old. So my first rock band was called Phoenix. And every 5 years, we get together, the same guys, and we play the high school reunion. Well, what's interesting about it is I was the youngest guy in the band. Myself and James, the singer, were the youngest guys in the band. All the rest of the guys were seniors. So it's actually what my wife lovingly calls, it's not my reunion. It's their reunion. Next year is my actual reunion. So anyway, it was their 45th reunion. And, you know, I'm like the young guy in the group, so I feel like the young guy group. I'm the drummer. I got a picture here. Larry Becker came out and shot a few shots. Here's a picture. If you can see my computer. All right, so that's me. That's me jamming. All right, so I'm playing. I'm singing. I'm playing. I'm singing backup. I'm singing lead on some songs. I'm rocking. All right. So I'm having fun. It's a pretty good day. Right? But there was something that happened during this event that made me realize how old I must actually be. Now, I told part of this on my blog and part of it I'm just going to tell you guys kind of on the side here. But so we play our first set. And by the way, the kind of music we're playing is we're playing Doobie Brothers and Chicago and Bad Company, Leonard Skinner, of course. And at the end of the night, of course, literally, people were yelling Freebird, and so we ended the night with Freebird, and we actually rehearsed it the day before, so it was okay. Anyway, so we play all these different songs, Eagles, all this different, stuff from the 70s, late 70s, when we graduated. Okay. We take a break, and an MC comes on. He's giving away prizes and gifts and stuff, and you ready? Here was the moment where if I ever thought I was not old, it was all confirmed in one sentence. So he's calling people up, and he says, hey, anybody here high school, sweethearts, you met in high school and got married? And a group of people come up, 10, 15 people come up, and they're couples, and they're like, oh, you guys, that's great. Here it comes. Let's bring up another group. Ready? He says, I'm not making this up. If you've had a hip replacement or a joint replacement, come on up. About 30 people came up to the front of the stage to get a round of applause. When you're at a gig and you're able to say if you've had a hip replacement or a joint replacement, come to the stage to get recognized. You might be old. You might be just a little old. And the MC says, hey, great, look at all these. I've had a hip replacement. I'm like, right there, I'm sitting there on stage, and I just said, I'm going to just apply for my AARP card right now. I've been avoiding it my whole life. You can get it when you're 55, and I'm like, I'm not getting that card. I applied for it while I was standing on stage. This is not the worst part. So at the end of the night, I'm packing up my kit. See if I got a better picture of the kit. Larry Becker was very cool to come out and take pictures, and Larry did a great job. Let me see if I got another picture. Oh, this is actually the moment it happened here. So this is, you can see, that's the moment it happened. That's the MC right there, broken hip and all. So that was, but that's not the one I was looking for here. Let me just see. All right, do I have another picture? I guess not. I guess I'd have to go to my Twitter. Hey, I got Twitter, don't I? Here's Twitter. I have Twitter. I have the Twitter. I'm on like the kids. Okay, here's another shot. Oh gosh, it went away. All right, here we are playing. This is us. Here we go. I'll make it bigger. All right, there we go. That's us playing. And that angry look on my face is, I just want those damn kids off my lawn. I'm not really mad at my mic. Anyway, long story short, I'm packing up my drums at the end of the night, and not one but two ambulances show up. Now, I'm not making fun of the people that it was for one person and she was okay. But when you're playing a gig where ambulances are showing up and people with hip replacements and joint replacements, I may not be a spring chicken. Is it? I don't feel like that. In my mind, I feel like 34. But apparently, I'm not anymore. So that was an interesting weekend. at the nursing home. Okay, next. It was not at a nursing home, just in case. All right, somebody I want you to start watching on LinkedIn. Now, you may already be following him on other social. You can follow him on Twitter. You can follow him on Facebook. I like the way his stuff is presented on LinkedIn. You know who he is, Tim Wallace. All right. So Tim made his name as a very famous automotive photographer in the UK. But now he does a lot of aviation. He does luxury yachts. He does wood chippers. The guy works so much. But guys, I don't know if you've seen the stuff that Tim's been doing. His stuff, he's doing the best stuff he's ever done. He is phenomenal. Let me just go see if I can grab him on LinkedIn real quick. Because I was looking at some of his stuff this morning, and I'm like, I swear, Tim is just crushing it. Let me just give me 2 seconds here to see if I can come up. I saw some of his stuff, but I have a lot of stuff in my feed on LinkedIn. And every person that follows me immediately or asked for me to follow them. As soon as I follow them, they immediately pitch me they want me to buy their stuff immediately. Dang it, where did it go? I guess I could just search for him, right? Tim. Could try that. Wallace. All right, and let's see if I can find one of today's posts. Well, he did this one. Can we see it? Look at these cars. Like, he's just doing such cool stuff. Look at these cars. I mean, they're so perfect, they look like they're 3D, but it's real photography. It's not 3D. And Tim's Photoshop work is phenomenal. His lighting is so perfect. I'm just so impressed. If you're not following him on Twitter or on Facebook, maybe it was on Twitter that I saw. Let me just look Twitter real quick. Tim Wallace, and just see, because his aviation stuff too. He is at Ambient Life on Twitter. Let's see if I can look at some of his aviation stuff. Seriously, this is just like I just saw this. Look at his it's just phenomenal stuff. He's just so good. So at ambient_life on Twitter, but I think he's doing his best work right now, and it's just exciting to see. And he's a great guy. He's a Kelby 1 instructor. He has tons of classes on automotive photography and the business side stuff. He's really good at that. Okay, what's next? Oh, I got so many things on my thing today, and I want to get to our okay, Canon introduced some new cameras. I don't know if you saw yesterday, an R7, which kind of replaces the old 7D Mark II. It is a crop sensor. They introduced 2 crop sensor mirrorless cameras. So it's made some of the older cameras obsolete, like the 90D. They're not going to do that anymore because that was a DSLR. They're not going to do the 7D Mark II. That's gone. The specs are amazing. But so Kuna has been looking at the R because the rumors have been out for a while. And the body only, and it's like 32 megapixels. It does all kinds of crazy stuff, and it has a 1.6 crop factor. So if what you shoot is wildlife or sports or aviation, this is going to get you that much closer. And you still have 32 megapixels. The body only was $1,500. $1,500. It's incredible. Mirrorless. Number 2 is the R10 replaces the Canon Rebel. I thought this was the one interesting thing about it, because that's their like entry-level camera. With the battery installed and a memory card, the body is less than 1 pound. 1 pound. So anyway, you can find out more at B&H. They've got all kinds of news on it, and reviews and first looks and all that kind of stuff. But 2 cameras came out yesterday. All right, moving on. Next, this is huge. Huge. This is huge. Biggest ever. Okay, here, listen. We have not a new entry. We have a new winner in the chicken sandwich wars. I did not see this coming. Caught me off guard. I've tried it twice, and I'm telling you, this blows away. It's better than Popeyes. Now, Popeyes has always been the standard, and we looked at Burger King's surprisingly good, Kentucky Fried Chicken quite good, Zaxby's best of breed. Zaxby's phenomenal. Beats Zaxby's. It beats Popeyes. It's in its own class. It is the new chicken sandwich to beat. Now, it is from a new chain owned by the Outback Steakhouse. So it's owned by the Outback, and it's called the Aussie Grill. And the chicken sandwich actually is their spicy sriracha chicken sandwich. I have a picture of it. I put it on my blog, put it on Twitter. I put it on the Twitter. Here it is. All right, that's their official picture. That's the Aussie Grill. And can I tell you something? Besides the dressing or where the sauce spilling off, it looks exactly like that. It's unbelievable. And it's that big. It hangs out of the bun just like that. I open it up. I'm like, how can I eat this? It was unbelievable. Best in breed, blows the rest away. Now, Aussie Grill is only in 6 states. In Florida, you can actually drive up and eat at an Aussie Grill. They have them in Tampa and different places around Florida. It's a freestanding building. In California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. California, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, they have virtual kitchens. So it's an Outback Steakhouse that makes this other menu, and they have that chicken sandwich. So if you're in one of those states, you can go get it. They're going to be expanding nationwide. Holy cow, I'm telling you, I just want to get one on the way home. If I hadn't just had lunch, I would. Hands down the best. Unbelievable. Okay. But, I know you guys have been following the chicken sandwich wars with me. Something else you got to be watching. I told you got to watch, you got to start following Tim Wallace. Steve Brazill has a podcast called Behind the Shot, and it is so good. And he gets the greatest photographers to talk about their work. And Steve he's a radio guy. He spent his life in radio, so you can imagine how good his podcast is. Number one, his voice sounds golden. He could be talking about milk and you'd be like, wow, that just sounds great. But he talks about photography, features different photographers. Look him up, Steve Brazill, and it's Behind the Shot is the name of the podcast. Steve's great. He's a great guy. He's a very good photographer, shoots a lot of concerts and stuff, and his concert work is just whoo. Anyway, great guy, great podcast. Add it to your podcast listening. Next, okay, you guys know I went to Prague a couple of weeks ago, but I finally got my, Adobe Spark, right? Adobe Spark. So they changed the name to Adobe Express, and I did an Adobe Spark page. I'm going to hit it for you real quick here. And I think Adobe Spark is hands down the best way to show your work from any kind of event or a trip or anything. But it's not called Adobe Spark anymore. It's the same thing. It's still included in your whatever thingy you have, whatever Adobe subscription plan you have. But if you get a chance, you can go to my Facebook page or my Twitter, and you will see a link to my Picture Perfect Prague, and it is the best way to share your images. Oh, by the way, see this picture right here? It uses the secret weapon that we're going to show in the next break, and I'll tell you what I did here that kind of took that picture over the top. But anyway, if you get a chance, I'd love for you to go check them out and stuff like that, and I'll talk a little bit more about this a little bit later. Also, let's see what else what other news do we have real quick. I wrote myself a note here, and I don't know what it means. Something else about Prague, but I don't remember what. I can't make up my own note, and it's written. It's just it corrected it. It did autocorrect, and I don't know what this word means. Okay, so let's get to our giveaways. Our giveaways today are we're giving away the Platypod disc. So this is like an Arca disc, that you can attach to any kind of Arca Swiss. Yeah, it's like that. That's it. Showing this bag is about useless. Anyway, it's a Platypod disc. It's round, and when you use it, you'll go, why aren't they all round? Okay, that's number one. We're giving away my Lightroom Classic book, this big honkin' book right here. Right here. It's honkin'. It's big. It is my I Want to Learn Lightroom from the Ground Up book. We're giving away that. In stock right now, my travel photography book. We're giving this one away. Guys, everybody's traveling. Travel time is here. Go get this book right now. And it's in print or it's in the ebook. Your choice. They got a pretty good deal on it. It's $24 over at Amazon. Go pick up a copy, and maybe somebody will win one today. You might win it, and if you don't win it, then you should definitely buy it. All right, we have a new sponsor for the grid. I've been using their stuff. In fact, I used it on my last shoot. It's phenomenal. And once I used it, I can't believe I waited so long to replace the awful one I had. It's V-Flat World. Right here, V-Flat World, that's them. Want to welcome them as a sponsor to the grid, and they are giving us some giveaways today. They're giving us a V-Flat, and this is U.S. shipping only, so they're not going to ship it to you if you're in France. I'm sorry. They're just going to ship in the U.S., and they're also going to give away 2 Duo Board XLs. So either one of those, plus they're giving grid viewers a 10% off discount. So V-Flats basically act as a reflector, but it's a white reflector on one side. It's a black reflector on the other, as you can see right there. But here's the thing about them. They fold up into a very small case. And that's the thing. See, that's what they look like when they're up. Can you go right there? So we have those. We kind of built them. We bought 2 big flats, and we duct taped them together. But we don't take them anywhere because they don't even fit in your car. Well, the V-Flat World folks did a great job. They're so cleverly designed. They work great, and they're affordable. It's all better. They do, like they were showing negative fill. Look at that. Go up here. So you can either open up the shadows. You can have shadows fall like they are on the left, or you can use the black side of the V-Flat, and it enhances the shadows. It's called negative fill. But anyway, their stuff's great, and we're very, very happy to have them with us. Their stuff is great. We only have sponsors of stuff that we actually use ourselves, and their stuff is phenomenal. So, and everybody loves them. Look, there's some of the people that love them right there, right? All great photographers. So anyway, is that all my news? That is all my news. All right. When we come back, Dan is going to be joining us, and he's going to be showing you my finishing move for my photos, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But we have Dan Harlacher standing by. Don't go away. We'll be right back, and we've got – oh, wait, we are giving away – okay, well, I'll talk about that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I'll talk about all that stuff, I promise, coming up right after this break. Don't go away. We're live here on the grid. It's Wednesday. Woo, let's go.
Hello everyone, this is Remy. I'm here in the beautiful Arizona, a location that I've never been to before. It's my first time, and we're filming a class for you about landscape photography. It's going to be a complete guide from start to finish, and this is going to include everything from pre-scouting a location, because I personally have never been to this location before, and it's going to be my first time, how to get there, when to get there. We're going to actually talk about the gear and how to take the photograph itself, looking for the best composition, how to pre-scout the actual photo shoot location for the best possible composition, and then coming back in the right light to shoot it. And we're gonna then take it to the Lightroom and Photoshop and actually work on it further. So this class is a complete guide to taking landscape photographs. So I want you to come and join me on my latest class on kelby1.com.
Guys, Adobe just announced, I am not kidding, a groundbreaking update to Lightroom and Camera Raw, and it's across all the Lightrooms, whether it's classic or cloud or mobile or whatever. Crazy stuff that they did with the masking. Amazing, wonderful, changes everything, because they took some of the AI stuff and the machine learning stuff and the amazing, crazy Photoshop stuff, and they put it in Lightroom. And guys, I'm telling you, this is game-changing, mind-blowing, crazy stuff. You're going to be able to work faster and more efficiently and do things you never thought you would do in Lightroom. They have done an amazing job with this. I'm telling you, this is absolutely awesome. And I put together a class, and it's a short class. It's not a big long one. It's a short one. And when you're done with this class, you're going to totally get it. You're going to know it all, and you're going to be able to apply it to your work right away. It's going to change your game. You're going to love it. You're going to have a blast with it. And I cover it all in my brand new class. So come check out my brand new class on all the cool new Lightroom masking features over at kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey everybody, we're back. Scott Kelby here with, well, there's no Eric Kuna. That lame-o. He couldn't even Skype in because he's like literally in the middle of Wyoming or something. He's like, he called me on the phone and says, hey, I'm driving in like, I don't know, someplace crazy Cuda, but he's coming back with some great images. All right, so I mentioned earlier that I have this software, and you guys, some of you that watch the show already know, but take a look at this shot here that I was just mentioning from Prague. Now, I've used it on, not this particular effect, but I've used this on virtually every single shot that's in my Prague thing, because it is kind of my last thing. When I'm done, I slide in, and so I start and I do my basic edits in Lightroom. That's my basic thing. And then my secret weapon is, and a lot of you already know this, ON1 effects. The 2022 version is the one I use. And if you look at this photo, you can see probably what it is, but I added a light. I don't know if it's a sun, some form of a sun flare. Over here, you can see those circles, and you can see it here. Now, this is a natural light shot. This is shot in a garden in Prague. We hired a ballerina she was just wonderful. She's a ballerina with the Prague National, the Czech National Ballet, and she was just wonderful. And we shot. This is a staircase leading up to more garden, but it was so symmetrical. It was just like set up like this would be a great place to put a ballerina. But the lights, so there's a number of things that I did here for contrast and everything, but it's one of my favorite little things, and I'll actually see if I can find the original image and show you how I did it. But rather than that, we have Dan Harlacher from ON1 who agreed to come on and show us how to use it. Now, I have my things that are my favorites. In fact, I've got a class coming out this week all on effects, and I show you I even have 2 segments that are just, here are my favorite ones and here's how I use them. Now, I recorded the class before I had these shots from Prague, but if you look at my Prague shots, if you go through them here, I'll show you some of them here. Now, I hope that you'll go to the site, but I used ON1 effects extensively in all of these shots. So that's, but I use it as a finishing move, right? I do the basic edits, but you can see these have beyond basic edits, but it's absolutely effortless. Oh, there we are. There's us shooting. Here we go. You can see us. There we are shooting our ballerina, and that's my crew. That's my team. That's all the folks that were with me. I had 12 photographers with me on this trip. And my next trip is to Tuscany. If you go to scottkelbyworkshops.com, at the very bottom, you can get on a newsletter mailing list, and you will know before I announce to the general public when my next workshop is, which the next one, I can tell you it's in Tuscany. I'm working on the dates now, but you will learn the actual dates and have a chance to register before the public if you get on that newsletter. So scottkelbyworkshops.com and scroll down. Now, let's get back to our topic. Standing by is Dan. Dan, are you there?
I'm here, man.
All right, there he is, Dan. Hey, Dan, today's Casual Tuesday, so just put on whatever you got's fine. Don't dress up for me. Don't dress up for the show. Just be casual. Look, I'm wearing my Dave Clayton logo today. There we go. Sporting my Dave Clayton logo. And so do you have a Dave?
I actually went and changed because I had like this ugly old flannel shirt on. I'm like, I should go put something bright and solid on for the show. So.
Yes, solid colors were great. All right, well, Dan, it's good to have you here. Thank you. We had you on a few weeks ago just to give everybody a hint of the AI resize, which I had to use it this week. So my wife wrote an article for a photography magazine. My wife's a very serious iPhoneographer, and she gets asked to do articles and stuff. And she looks at me and she says, honey, he says I need a really high resolution photo. I said, I got you, babe. Email it to me. She emails it to me. I increase the size to 200%. So we have an iPhone photo, Dan, that's like 24 inches that looks sharper and crisper than the original photo out of the iPhone. So There's some crazy magic, and we showed this a couple of weeks ago. But today I want to focus on the effects part because that is my secret weapon for finishing my images. So I'm going to hand it to you while I'm looking for that original ballerina image, which I may or may not have, but I can still show how I did it, even if I can just find any ballerina image. I have an iPhone ballerina image I could even throw it on. So Dan, Here, I'm passing
There
you
we
the
go.
mic. I'm passing
All
you
right.
the mic with love from DJ Cassidy to the world.
Before you do that, I've got to ask. I've always wondered, what are all those computers doing behind you back there? Are they like looking for extraterrestrial life, or
Nope,
mining Bitcoin, or
it's a Bitcoin. It's crypto.
It's Bitcoin.
It's
That's
absolutely,
what
it's
I
a
thought.
crypto farm. It's absolutely, we were mining it before it was even a thing. And so it's not done yet, but when it does, Dan, we're going to have like $40.
$40.
So we're pretty excited. It's
That's good.
It's a lot of buzz around the building here about that.
All right. Well, let's jump in and let me tell you a little bit about Effects first. So obviously it works as a standalone app. You can use it as a plugin to Lightroom, use it as a plugin to Photoshop, pretty much anything else it'll take a plugin. It'll work inside of as well. I'm going to work through Lightroom today, but keep in mind you can use it in any of those other places. So I'm here in Lightroom, I've got some photos I want to work on. I picked one to send it to Effects. I go up to the File menu, down to Plugin Extras, and then select Effects. The reason I want to do it this way is it allows us to control the file types that are sent to the app, and it makes it a very seamless process. Especially if you cancel, we can get rid of any copies that are made. So always go through that Plugin Extras menu. So anyway, I'll pick Effects. A dialog is going to come up. This is actually our dialog, not Lightroom's dialog. And this is where you pick what you want to edit. Most of the time, you're going to pick this top option, that's edit a copy with any of your Lightroom settings on it. So no matter what kind of file you start with, whatever you've done in Lightroom is going to get baked into that photo. It's going to send that photo to us. The bottom part is the important one. Under the file format type, you can pick what it's going to create. I'm going to use what's called a Smart Photo PSD. This is a unique feature in On Effects where I can actually go back and re-edit my settings. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to hit OK. It's going to take that photo. It's going to do all the cooking that Lightroom needs to do to it, and it's going to send it over to Effects here. So here we are inside Effects. Over on the left-hand side here. Is my screen caught up? It's kind of wonky there. There we go. I'm going to give you the lay of the land because Effects is something that can be very powerful, but with great power comes great responsibility. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in here. So let me give you the lay of the land and get started. Left-hand side, basic tools. You can do things like cropping. You can move things around. You can do local adjustments. You can mask and retouch, all those powerful tools. We're not going to hit too many of those today. Next, you'll see a column of all your presets. This is really where Effects shines. It comes with, I don't know, like 300 different presets out of the box. And these are not just very basic, simple presets. These are professionally curated presets that are based on kind of what is trending today. Plus, there's literally thousands more that you can get online. There's even some really great ones from Scott that Scott has come up with. You notice I've got my SK Landscape and SK Sports, SK Travel. Those are some really great ones that Scott put together with using some of his favorite looks. Now, you're probably asking, what is a preset? A preset is any stack of filters, and that's really the heart of Effects, how it works, are filters. So I'm going to zip over here to the right. I'm going to click on the Add Filter button. I'm not going to add one. I just want to show you guys this little dialog here. These are all the little individual building blocks, the individual filters that you can stack, blend, adjust, just like you would on your camera lens. So, in the old days on your camera, you might put a polarizer and a warming filter and then a split neutral density filter on it. Imagine the same thing, but in software with a ton more filters that you can use and with a lot more power and control. So all those presets, what they really do is they just pick whatever series of these filters you want and put them in the right order. So I'm going to start off with some presets because I think it's a great way to kind of learn about what you can do. So I'm just going to go up and pick a category. Let's go the color grading category. When I click on the category, I'm going to see my photo with all of the different presets applied. And I pick color grading because it's kind of a subtle look in here. Now these are pretty small. I can click this little button right here called the Quick View Browser, and it's going to give me a larger version of my photo with all those different presets applied, and then I can just pick one that I like. When I click on that, that was interesting. It's added what was in that preset right over here on the right. I will note that we're in the middle of getting ready for our next release. The 2022.5 generation of products are just around the corner, and I'm using test versions of that release today. So if anything wacky happens, I might crash something like that. We'll blame it on that. So we're looking at something that's not quite out the door yet. So what it did is it added, in this case, just a single filter over here on the right, added our dynamic contrast filter, one of my favorites. You can turn it on and off, and you can control how strong any preset is just by grabbing this little fade slider, and you can just dial it down or up. So you can just kind of dial it into taste without having to do anything over on the right-hand side. So the way I kind of think about it is the left-hand side is the easy side, the right-hand side is the pro side. So we'll just adjust that back and forth and kind of dial it to taste. Don't like that one, I could pick a different preset. And I can also go to the right and I can adjust any of these settings to taste that I want to and add anything to it. So let's say, yeah, I like that dynamic contrast filter that I've added, but I kind of want to add a vignette to it. So I'll click on the add filter button. I'll go find the vignette. Click on that filter. It's add the vignette on top. There's little built-in presets at the top you can pick. I'm just going to use Big Softy. That's kind of my favorite. And that's going to darken the edges of my photo.
That's one of my favorite. I love Big Softy.
Yeah. That's because you're a Big Softy.
I know.
So, yeah. So there we go. And then, I can just keep adding on top of that. I kind of like that, but I'd like it to be just a little bit more muted in the color. So I'll just add a color enhancer in here. And we'll grab the saturation slider, and I'm just going to pull that guy down just a little bit to make it a little bit more muted. There we go. I hit the preview button. There's before. And there's after. Or as my wife always says, she says, sucky photographer, good photographer. Just like that. Now, if you like that, I've kind of made my own little stack of stuff over here. Let me roll these up so you can take a look at what we added here. So we started off with that dynamic contrast filter. Then we stuck a vignette on it. We added that color enhancer to kind of pull the color down. If I like that look and I think I'm going to use it again, I can just go up to settings and say, save this thing as a preset. I can pick what gets saved. I can pick what category I want to put it in. Oh, I got a lot of presets. I'll stick it my test one in this case, and I'll just call it my preset. There we go. I can save that guy. And now I can use it over and over again. It's going to appear over here in my presets category, in the test category, wherever that's at. And then I would be able to use that preset over and over again. Now that's a very, very basic approach. I'm going to hit done here real quick just so we can go back to Photoshop so I can show you how that smart photo worked. So it's going to save that file out. It's going to take us back to Lightroom here. You notice there's a new photo right here next to it. It's got the same name. It says smart photo at the end of it. And if we look at it, it's going to look like just what we saw in effects. I'm going to arrow to the original. There's the original we started with. There's the one we had in effects. Let's say I changed my mind. I want to go change that. I want to make it totally black and white. So I'm just going to send it back to effects. We'll go back to plugin extras, back to effects. And this time, you notice it's automatically picked the open the original option. It'll actually know because it's a smart photo. And when I open it up, it's going to reconstitute that photo right the way it was with the exact same stack of adjustments that we had.
That's so pretty cool.
Over here.
I always thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And Dan, I taught that in my course that's coming out this week. In fact, everything that you just showed, Dan, is in my course coming out this week.
I hope so.
Now, I will say this. Dan did show me some things that I did not know. So I did a Zoom call with Dan, and he showed me a few things. And I've been using effects for a while now. There's things in there that I was like, what? And I shared all of them because I took copious notes. And I shared all of those tricks that Dan showed me. So there is some really cool stuff in that class. Hey, Dan, I did find, before you completely redo my class, I did find a shot. Now, the shot that you see on my screen is an iPhone photo. So it's taken, but it doesn't look bad for an iPhone photo, right?
Not at all.
I mean, it's not bad. It's an iPhone photo. But I'll show you what I did to it. And it's very, very simple. I actually did just two things to it. So what I did was, now this is a JPEG out of my phone. I didn't shoot RAW or anything else. So in that case, I could just choose it from my filter menu. But if it's a RAW photo, I'm going to open it like Dan said by going under the file menu and opening it that way. So you're accessing a higher quality version. But if it's just some iPhone photo, who cares? Anyway, so here's what I did. It was a couple little subtle things, but I think that they made a nice difference. So I went to Add Filter. And in this list of all the yummy filters that are there, we're going to go to Sun Flare. Woo! Love the Sun Flare. And you can see it put a nice sun flare over there, but I clicked on Sun Flare over here, got the transform, and just repositioned it to where it was just kind of where I wanted it. I'm not even sure this is the exact sun flare I used because I might have actually chose one of these other ones, probably maybe this one, and just moved it to the other side. So, but anyway, where I flipped it, there's a bunch of them here. up right down here, and there's all kinds of choices you've got. So that's what I did. I just picked a very cool looking one, not something, I didn't want something so obvious, right? Now you might want something very obvious if it was a close-up portrait, but for something where you're shooting wide angle like this, a little bit back further, you want something a little more subtle. So I kind of went with something like this, grab the transform, and you can control the scale of it and all. And so you have a little scale slider. So that's kind of what I did, just to give it that little. And again, I tell people I use it for a finishing move because I wanted to add that little certain something that just gives the image. There we go. That's it. Something like that. And then I went to add another filter. And I can't remember if I added a split tone or it was a cross process. They're kind of similar. And I think I might have used just warm. And then, of course, anytime you apply one of these, you can back off its strength and just kind of dialed it in. But even if you just look at, even if you were to just look at the sun flare, let me just turn it on and turn it off so you can see what, right? It makes a big difference. So that was my little secret finishing move on that one. And a lot of times what I'm using is tonal contrast, adding some kind of a contrast to your gritty look and things like that. And again, this is after I've done my basic edits in Lightroom. Then I'm gonna jump over here. Now, Dan, we're gonna have to take a short break, and we're gonna do that. But while we're on this break, Dan, I want you to think of something else that you can show us, because you're showing what's in my class. Now, my class is long. It's not a 5-minute class or a 15-minute class. It's a full length. It's got to be over an hour because I went into every little detail all the way through it, and I showed you all my favorite stuff. And like I said, I have 2 segments where I'm just going, these are my favorite ones, and here's how I use them. So I did all that. But I can see, Dan, that we are covering many of the same topics. You make other software, though, don't you? It's not just one plugin. It's not just resize and effects, is it?
No. There's resize effects. There's no noise. There's HDR. There's
Yes.
portrait AI, and of course, Photo Raw, the big dog. So
yeah. So anyway, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, if you have questions, if you have comments, if anything, please put them in the chat. By the way, putting a comment in the chat is exactly how you enter the contest to win any of the cool stuff that we're giving away. So if you want to win some of that stuff, well, now is the time to go put a comment in the chat. You can put a comment, and at the end of your comment, just put, I want to win the V-flats. I want to win the travel book. Whatever you want to win, let us know, because if we don't know what you want to win, we'll send you whatever. You don't want that. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Dan in just a moment. Don't go away.
Hello, my name is Dave DeBearmaker, and I'm a toy photographer from North Carolina, and I'm excited to share with you my new class on exercise and creativity. Creativity is a flow that leads us from the initial idea all the way to the final image. So we're going to cover exercises on how to be more proficient at how to use your camera, and how to get those ideas anyways, as well as narrowing those ideas down and focusing them to get the best shots that you possibly can. When you finish this course, you'll be armed with techniques to flex your own creativity and make the most out of your own creative efforts. So please check out my class, only here on Kelby One.
Guys, Peter Hurley here, and I'm psyched. You know why? I am doing my signature lighting in a class here at Kelby One. Do you want to miss it? You don't want to miss it. Why would you want to miss that? I've made a ton of money in my career using this exact setup, and I'm going to give it to you. So I want you to copy it. I want you to do it. I want you to get this beautiful light for yourself so that human beings can get in front of your camera and look really good. And I'm here to coach you. So let's do this. We're going to do men's lighting. We're going to go my signature triangle setup, beauty lighting for women as well. And this setup is what I've made my living around in my entire career. It's made me uber successful. It can help you. It can help you make better pictures of human beings that are fortunate enough to step in foot in front of your lens and I'm psyched to see it. So let's go. You ready? Come watch my latest class at kelby1.com. 3, 2, 1. Shabam.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
What?
Yeah.
Hey,
Towards Mecca.
so I was just talking about Peter Hurley. I was just talking to Dan about Peter, who's such a great guy and such a great instructor. I was just telling him that Peter came and did headshots a few years ago, of our staff. And you can't believe how great the headshots. I mean, he understands the human face, but he's able to get expression and emotion out of you. One of my favorite lines is like he's shooting you and he's saying stuff to get your mind off the fact that you're having your photo taken, right? And he says, face your hips towards the Canadian border. And all you can do is laugh. And he takes the shot. like what? Hey, I got a question coming in from Ron here for you, Dan. It says, when you edit, right? When you do an edit, like I guess what Ron's asking, when you're going from Lightroom over to Photoshop, or from ON1 over to Photoshop, do you like PSD, TIFF, or JPEG? Which one do you send it over as, and why? I have mine, but I'll let you do yours. So,
well, if I'm going from Lightroom, I always use the Smart Photo PSD because I want that re-editability capability for sure. If I'm working out of Photoshop, it's kind of going to depend on what the output file is I want it to be. So I'm probably going to work in Photoshop for all of my editing, and then I'm going to save it out as whatever else it needs to be. If it needs to be a JPEG to go to a lab or a TIFF to go to a print or something like that. But for all of my normal edits, I'm going to keep it in PSD so I can keep all the layers and all the goodies that Photoshop gives me.
Right. So if I'm editing like just in Lightroom and I'm going over to Photoshop, I usually use PSD. I can't think of any reason to use TIFF. TIFF files are just huge and they don't offer you any advantage or of really any significant kind over a PSD. PSDs are smaller. It's Photoshop's native file format, so PSD is good. And of course, if you're going from ON1, the Smart PSD is the smart way to go. It's well named. Lisa says, love ON1. So thank you. She says, especially effects, right? She's looking forward to watching Scott's new course. Thank you, Lisa. It comes out maybe tonight or tomorrow. So we usually release our classes on Wednesday night or Thursday. So by tomorrow for sure, it'll be out. And I'm excited about it. Let me know what you think. So, I'm in the forums. So hit me up on when you watch a Kelby One class, I don't know if you know this, Dan, there's a button called Discuss This Class. And if you hit it, it takes you to a discussion of just that class. And it's people from the community and the instructor that are in there. So once you get to watch it, Lisa, just hit me up in that chat. Let me move this down a little so it's like, there we go. That's better. So just hit me up in the chat. All right. So Dan, Dan's walking all over my effects class, but there is one thing he's going to show. We talked about it. They do masking in a very smart way, and so and I did cover this in the class, by the way. My class is extensive, but anyway, Dan's going to show us how the masking works. So it's okay, but Dan, don't go crazy on the masking.
I won't go crazy. As a matter of fact, I'm only going to show you one of the masking tools.
Okay.
Because I think it's really handy in a lot of cases like this.
All right. Okay.
I've got this photo. I've just taken it straight from Lightroom. I want to add a texture because that background wall is kind of boring. It's just this very flat looking wall. So I'm going to go to add filters. Let's go to the textures. There's a bazillion different textures that are built in and tons that you can add. You can import your own textures into it. So that's great. But the problem is it put the texture right on the bride on the couch. I don't want that. Well, I could grab the brush tool and I could go in there and intricately paint that up. But it's going to take me a couple minutes to do that. So instead, I'll go over to the masking tools. It's up here in the tool options bar. There's lots of different kinds of masks. I can do a regular brush. I can use a flexible gradient tool. I can use a line mask. Scott's going to cover all of that in his stuff. I'm going to use one called the AI Quick Mask tool. And with this one, I just kind of make kind of a general stroke of stuff I want, stuff I don't want. So I don't want the texture on her. So I'm going to just paint in red. I don't want the texture on her, but I do want it on the background. So I'm just going to hold down my Option key or my Alt key. I want it there. Don't want it there. Voila, it's automatically built a mask for me. It's not perfect. I can go in and fine tune that some more if I want to. For today, that's good enough. Look at there. Bam. Mask is gone, or the mask was created. It's automatically been feathered too. Kind of that intermediate step you saw was just kind of an intermediate step. So you can see it's a much nicer mask, just like that. And if I wanted to refine it more, I can use all the other tools. All those masking tools work together. It's actually kind of a series of different masks that multiply together to create your final mask. So I'm just going to grab a regular masking brush. I'm just going to paint it across the ground here a little bit. I'll just click and shift click, make a nice little straight line across the bottom, just like that, to clean up the bottom. So
All
there
right.
you go. Big bang boom.
Okay.
Did you cover that one, Scott?
I did. Well, I covered masking, but not in that way. I did not put a wall behind a bride. Or a texture behind a bride. I think I put a texture behind a bridesmaid. So it's really not the same thing.
Not quite the same thing. So.
Hey, go back, Dan. I like that one that has cracks in the wall, like there was an earthquake. I think you need to touch the scale tool on that one.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like there was an earthquake in there, but no. Anyway, that's a great use for it, Dan. I wish I had thought of that for my class. I did not. But
there's part of the addendum.
Yeah, look, there she is in the slot canyons. The old bride in the slot. I'm joking aside. I've seen shots of brides in the slot canyon.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. It
happens. I've seen it too.
It's not frequent, but it does happen. All right. So, Dan, thank you for giving us a look at effects. So, guys, at least you have a taste of what effects does. And so now you can jump into my class and I start from scratch. And I go through all the export options. I go through all the preferences and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, that's like tomorrow. So, come and check it out. Give you something to do on a blustery Thursday. So, there you go. All right, Dan. What else do we got? There's other plugins you guys make as well.
There's lots of other things. How about we do a portrait?
Let's do it.
I'll show you how to do a little portrait retouching here. Let's go grab a portrait photo we want to work on. I'll grab a couple. Well, not a couple photos, but a picture of a couple of people. And let's jump over. And I'm going to send this one to portrait instead. I'll do the same thing. Use that smart photo option. So Portrait AI will go through a photo. It's going to find all the people in the photo, find all their faces, find their skin, their eyes, their lips, their mouths, everything, and do all the retouching and enhancing for you automatically. You don't have to pick up. That's the thing about it. So over here on the right-hand side, in the faces section, you'll see, oops, let me turn that little tutorial off there. You'll see two faces that I found. I found him and her. Let's start with her. I'll just click on her face. And then down below, we have all of the options for how we want to retouch. Now, at this point, it's just the default settings. So it's automatically found her face. It's recognized her age and gender and has kind of put on the right starting settings based on my preferences. Like in the preferences, I can say whether I like a strong retouch or a light retouch. And I'm just going to turn the preview on and off and zoom in just a little bit so you can see better here. So that's before. And that's after. And I didn't do anything. That's just the defaults. But I can go in and I can tune this to my taste. So I can go to the skin retouching slider. I can control the amount of skin retouching that I'm going to use. It uses frequency separation for this, so it's a nice clean looking retouch. I can do all sorts of morphing to the face. I can make it thinner, make the eyes bigger or smaller to balance out different morphology. That's a fun word to use, morphology. In her case, her eyes are a little deeper set, so I'm just going to open up her eyes, add a little bit of brightness. It's almost like a fill light into the eyes there. She's got a little bit of dark circles under them too, so I'm going to soften up those dark circles and make her eyebrows just a little bit darker. There we go. Just like that. And, she's already got some pretty white teeth, so I don't really need to worry about that a whole lot. Let's turn her on and off just so you can see what we did. There's before. And there's after. Just like that. Now, if I find that I went overboard on it, I can always grab the opacity slider at the top and I can dial it up or down. That's kind of the taster's choice there. And because each face is independent, each face can have its own settings. So now I can go over and I can click on him and I can use completely different settings on him. Obviously, I don't need nearly as much retouching on him. He's a dude. So we're going to use a lighter amount of retouching. He's got those deep set eyes.
What it is nobody cares about dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a dude, you know what? Brighten his eyes and send him off to print. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. We don't soften guys' skin. We don't really do we don't even remove blemishes because just like nobody cares. Guys.
Yep.
Guys
Pretty
are
much just a man drop.
Guys are stupid. Hey, Dan, while you're doing that, we got a question about masking from Colleen wants to know. So when masking, is the masked area what will be changed or what will not be affected by the change? It's a good question.
Well, that's a good question. Well, generally, the area that you're masking is the part where it's not going to be affected. You're removing the effect from that region. So if a whole white mask, the effect's being applied to the whole area. You paint black on it, you're painting that away.
Also, they've done something I think that is very clever, and I talked to Dan about this, is when you go up and look at the masking choices, you have two choices, paint in or paint out. So it's very easy. Do I want to paint the effect into this area, or do I want to paint the effect out of this area? So that's in the masking tools. Can you show it? Can you just show where that is real quick?
Yep. So right up here this is basically the same bar you'd see with most of the masking tools right up here at the top. Obviously, I can change my shape if I needed to, but I'm just going to use a round shape. And right there is paint in and paint out. And you can use the Shift X key to toggle between those modes. And I can't remember, it's the Shift key, I think, to toggle while you're holding it. All the kind of stuff that you're used to using. All the normal kinds of controls that you'd have for the brush. We also have what's called the perfect brush, which is a color sensitive brush. So as you paint, it's actually going to only change the color under the center of the brush. So it's great if you're trying to get around things like tree branches or along a ridge line. You don't have to paint super carefully. It's going to stop automatically at the hard stuff for you.
Yeah, but the good thing about it is when you're using that and you see the words paint in and paint out, it makes a whole lot more sense than trying to figure what am I masking. It's a little thing, but it's those little things that make a huge difference in your understanding of masking. And you're never like, I'm not sure what I'm doing, because I'm either painting in the effect or I'm painting away the effect. So it's all right. So I'm sorry, Dan. Hey, there's a couple more questions.
Sure.
So, and we're out of time anyway. So it works out perfectly fine. So when Video GT is asking, when will the ON1 update be out? You mentioned an update is around the corner. When do we anticipate around the corner to be?
Around the corner is very, very much around the corner. It'll be that first week in June. First full week in June, I guess I should say.
That is around the corner. All right.
7th, 9th, something, or whatever that week is. Yeah. So we're just wrapping it up right now. So if you haven't looked at our website, there's a kind of a release that tells you all the cool stuff that's coming in that update. That's a free update if you have any of the 2022 products.
All right. Deb wants to know, does portrait work well on old black and white photos?
That's a great question.
Have you tried it on old
black and white photo? Yeah.
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, as far as it's still going to recognize. It's using AI to recognize the face and then assigning the sliders based on that recognition. Now it's brightening the eyes, changing the color of teeth and things, or changing the brightness values.
Yeah.
I
think some things like, changing the color of the lips probably isn't going to do anything on a black and white photo.
Right.
And obviously if there's like big scratches and stuff in the photo, you're going to have to do those manually, the manual retouching on a print. But in terms of finding a face and doing the basic stuff on a face, it should work. But knock on wood, I haven't tried it myself. So.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. And thank you for showing that stuff. Thank you for hopefully getting people interested in watching my class, since you got a preview of it from a guy that has showed me a lot of cool things that I did not know. So I share all of that stuff, all of Dan's, because I specifically said, Dan, I need secrets. Show me stuff you wouldn't normally know. And he showed me some stuff, and I've been using it for a while, and I was like, I had no idea. There is some juicy stuff. And one of my favorites, I'm not going to tell you how to do it till you watch the class, and this is something you cannot do in Lightroom, but because a preset moves sliders to a preset location, right? So if you choose, I want this look, all the sliders move, which is nice. But if you choose a different preset on top of that, it screws up the first thing. And Dan showed me a way to apply a preset and then go apply another preset on top without screwing up the first one.
Yep. There's a secret way of doing it.
There is.
Go watch Scott's course.
Go watch my class. It comes out tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, that one trick right there is worth the entire class. Because I've used, Dan, I cannot tell you how many times I've used that trick since she showed it to me. That right there, if you watch nothing else in that class. But I broke everything down by chapters. It's not one long, big hour. It's go right to the thing you want to learn, and it's right there. And I have a whole thing, of course, on presets. Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you taking the time. Also, thank you for changing shirts to a nice, solid color, a bright, solid color. You know how much we appreciate that. All right.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dan. We're going to take one little quick, tiny, short break. When we come back, we got the winners. We got some winners of cool stuff, and that's all happening in just a moment. And don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you want to make your images look more interesting? Well, that all comes with creative lighting. In my course, we will talk about different ways to modify light. We're going to block light, we're going to play with shadows, and we're going to paint with light. Super fun. These are all techniques that'll help you mold and craft your lights so that you can have more striking and dynamic images. Come join me in my class about creative lighting here at kelby1.com.
Hey everyone, Rick Salmon here. I really hope you can join me for my latest Kelby One class, Uncovering the Magic of the Golden Hours. Get your best pictures in the best light of the day. Now in this class, I will of course cover photographing during the golden hours, which are basically the hours, more or less, after sunrise and before sunset. However, this class goes way beyond just photographing during those times. I'll also cover photographing during the blue hours, which are basically the hours before sunrise and after sunset. But there's more. I'll also share with you my top tips for photographing at sunrise and at sunset, which actually can be kind of tricky when shooting into the sun due to the high contrast range in the scene. And I'll cover image processing, which can save the day when you can't get it right on camera, plus it's a ton of fun. So my friends, I really hope you can join me for my latest class, Uncovering the Magic of the Golden Hours, only on kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
All right, we're back and we got some winners. Hey, before we do that, first off, we've got our own conference coming up in June, in late June. We've got the June 21st and 22nd. It's a whole conference on how to make money with your photography. Now, this isn't necessarily like quit your job. You're a dentist. And I'm like, quit your dental practice. No, but this is how to make money on your photography, because a lot of people are making money in a lot of different fascinating ways. Everything from getting hired to do jobs, licensing your work, selling your prints. There's so many different ways. Stock photography, we got an all-star cast of instructors teaching all kinds of different ways to make money through freelancing and everything else. Man, we got a great lineup, great instructors. Look at those instructors, right? So this is going to be great. We're very excited about it, and we hope that you will join us. It's if you go now, it's only $149, and you get both tracks and everything. And of course, don't forget about the B&H Optic Conference. Go sign up for. All you have to do is RSVP. That's it. Just go and RSVP and say, yeah, I'll be there. And you can either do in person or the other one. So go do that right now while you're thinking about it. Let's give some prizes away. But anyway, we're excited about our new conference. So the bookings so far, people have been jumping on board. And go look at some of the names of the classes, and you're going to be like, okay, this is for me. All right. The Platypod disc, which we talked about earlier, this one goes to Mike from Madison. Congratulations, Mike. My Lightroom Classic book goes to Roberto Stewart. So congratulations. The travel photography book goes to Jeannie W. And the ON1 Effects 2020 plugin goes to Hung Pham. So congratulations. The V-Flats from our brand new sponsor, V-Flat World. The single V-Flat goes to Dwight in Tennessee. So congratulations, Dwight. And we've got 2 Duo Board XLs. They are going to Jennifer Lyles Clemens and George Saramitis. So George Saramitis, I'm saying your name exactly right, George, but it's, you know who you are. Also, don't forget, V-Flat World is giving a 10% off discount. All you have to do is use the code Kelby10 at checkout. So they're giving a 10% discount. If you want to buy a V-Flat, their stuff is great. We use it ourselves. So go check it out at vflatworld.com. All right. Now, if you won one of those prizes, how do you claim it? Send us an email to gridprize@kelby1.com. Provide us your mailing address. Now, we will verify that you are actually you. And once we verify that you are you, we'll ship your stuff out to you. So congratulations, or give you a download link for like Hung Pham, who needs to just download the software. But thanks to our sponsors for giving all these great goodies away. That is awesome. Let's see what else. Kuna's gone again next week. That lame-o. Yep, he's out. He's gone again. Can't believe it. But by next week, we'll have something cool and fun to do. So it could be time for, I don't know. It could be. So we were off last week because of the Gear Conference. I think it's probably going to be almost time. If it's not time, it's almost time for Blind Photo Critique. So that might be next week. I'm not certain. So I do the research and make sure it's been a whole month. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to Dan for hanging out with us. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to my crew here. Thanks to Ron for pitching in on the comments. Jason in the booth. Dobson on the jib. And moving that jib like a pro, like a boss. See you guys next time. See you next week. Cheers.